Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the voice that constantly questions you, the voice that whispers, "You're not enough, you'll fail, others are better than you," has grown quiet. Not because you fought it, not because you forced positivity, but because you finally understood it. This is not a story about motivation. This is not about repeating affirmations in the mirror. This is about a radical insight taught by the Buddha over 2,500 years ago, an insight so simple, yet so powerful, that it can completely change how you relate to your own mind. If self-doubt has ever held you back, if you've ever felt like your biggest enemy lives inside your head, stay with me, because what you're about to hear may change how you see yourself forever. There's a voice inside your mind that speaks more than anyone else in your life. It comments on your decisions. It judges your mistakes. It compares you to others. Most of the time, you don't even notice it. You assume it's you. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, is that voice actually helping you or quietly sabotaging you? The Buddha taught that much of our suffering comes not from the world itself, but from how the mind reacts to it. And self-doubt is one of the most destructive reactions of all. We unknowingly give this inner critic enormous power. We listen to it as if it were the ultimate authority. We believe it without question. We obey it even when it keeps us small, afraid, and stuck. And the most dangerous part? The inner critic often disguises itself as protection. It says things like, "Don't try, you might fail. Stay quiet, you might look foolish. Be perfect, or you won't be loved." It claims to be keeping you safe, but in reality, it keeps you imprisoned. Think about a time you wanted to start something new, maybe a creative project, a business idea, or even just speak up at a meeting. Remember that feeling of a brake being pulled inside you? That was the inner critic at work, whispering its familiar script of fear. It wasn't protecting you, it was limiting your potential. It wasn't keeping you safe, it was keeping you stagnant. Now, ask yourself this. Why does self-doubt feel so overwhelming today? We live in a time of constant comparison, endless scrolling, curated success, filtered happiness. In 2026, we're more connected than ever, and yet more disconnected from ourselves than any generation before us. The mind is bombarded with information, expectations, and opinions. And in that noise, the inner critic grows louder. Every single day, we're exposed to a highlight reel of everyone else's life. We see the promotions, the dream vacations, the perfect relationships. But we don't see the struggle, the rejections, the messy reality behind the scenes. Our mind, trying to make sense of it all, starts to build a narrative. Everyone else has it figured out, so what's wrong with me? This isn't a personal failure, it's a systemic one. The Buddha never spoke about social media, but he deeply understood the restless, comparing mind. He taught that craving to be more, fear of being less, and attachment to identity creates suffering. Every time you compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel, the mind tightens. Every time you measure your worth by external approval, self-doubt deepens. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to believe that peace is something you must earn. You start thinking that if you just achieve that next goal, get that next promotion, or gain a certain number of followers, then you'll finally feel worthy. But it's a moving goalpost. The validation is temporary, and the inner critic always finds something new to latch onto. The game is rigged, and the only way to win is to stop playing. Here is where Buddhist wisdom offers a revolutionary shift. The Buddha did not teach us to destroy negative thoughts. He did not teach us to argue with them. He did not teach us to replace them with positive ones. Instead, he taught something far more powerful. You are not your thoughts. Let that sink in for a moment. You are not your thoughts. Self-doubt is not who you are. It is an event happening in the mind. In Buddhist teachings, thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky. They arise, they linger, they dissolve. But the sky itself, your awareness, remains untouched, clear, and vast. When self-doubt appears, the problem is not the thought itself. The problem is identification. The moment you say, "This thought is me," suffering begins. But when you observe the thought instead of believing it, its power weakens. The Buddha called this mindfulness, noticing without judgment. When you watch your inner critic the way you would watch a passing sound or sensation, something extraordinary happens. The thought loses authority, the emotion softens, and space opens up. Imagine you're sitting by a river. Each thought is like a leaf floating by. The thought, "I'm not good enough," floats past. Instead of jumping into the river to grab it, analyze it, and wrestle with it, you simply watch it go. You notice it, acknowledge its presence, and let it continue down the stream. This simple act of non-engagement is profoundly liberating. You realize you are the one sitting on the riverbank, not the leaf in the water. Most of us try to fight self-doubt. We resist it, we suppress it, we shame ourselves for having it. But resistance feeds the very thing we're trying to escape. Imagine trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It takes immense effort, and the moment you lose focus, it bursts back up to the surface with even more force. This is what we do with our inner critic. We push it down, pretend it's not there, and then we're surprised when it explodes in moments of stress or vulnerability. Buddhist wisdom teaches that awareness, not resistance, is the path to freedom. When self-doubt arises, instead of saying, "I shouldn't feel this way," you gently say, "Ah, self-doubt is here." No judgment, no argument, just presence. This simple shift changes your relationship with your mind. You stop being the victim of your thoughts, you become the witness. And from that witnessing, compassion naturally arises towards yourself. You start to see the inner critic not as a monster, but a misguided, frightened part of you that's just trying to protect you in a clumsy way. And when you can look at it with compassion, you can soothe it instead of fighting it. You can say, "I hear you. I know you're scared, but I've got this." This is how true inner peace is born. Inner peace is not the absence of negative thoughts. It is the absence of fear towards them. When you no longer see self-doubt as an enemy, it loses its grip. When you stop identifying with the inner critic, it quiets on its own, like a child who stops crying once they know they've been heard. You realize that your mind will always produce thoughts, both positive and negative. That's its job. Your job is not to police every thought, but to choose which ones you engage with, which ones you believe, and which ones you simply let pass by. This is the secret the Buddha discovered under the Bodhi tree. Freedom does not come from controlling the mind, but from understanding it. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need to silence every doubt. You only need to see clearly. And in that clarity, peace arises, not as something you achieve, but as something you remember. It's the natural state of your being, the clear sky that was always there, just waiting for the clouds of thought to pass by. You begin to trust the vast, silent awareness that is your true nature, and from that place, you can navigate life not with fear, but with a quiet, unshakable confidence. Thank you for joining me today. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more insights on finding peace in the modern world.